My name is Bay. I just turned 70 this year. My husband passed away early, leaving me to shoulder the burden of farming and raising 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter, all on my own. In my younger years, I knew nothing but sacrifice. I gave them all the rice, wore patched-up clothes for years, and even gave up my old bicycle so they could ride to school. I walked to the market just to save every penny, so my children could get an education, a career, and a decent place in society. And in the end, they succeeded. The eldest worked in real estate in the city, the second opened a small mechanical workshop, and my daughter worked in a factory far from home. I lived alone in a rundown, one-story house, but my heart was light. I thought my life's mission was complete. As long as they were happy, I was content. Then one day, my second son came home and said, "Mom, maybe you should settle the land and house matters while you're still healthy. We're not greedy, but it's best to be clear to avoid trouble later." It stung, but I understood. If something happened to me suddenly, the children would be left in confusion. So, I had the documents notarized. I gave the biggest plot facing the main road to my second son. The third got the land near the canal, smaller, but ideal for his workshop. I kept the house I lived in, because I still needed a place to die. I told myself, if fate allows, I'd leave it to my youngest daughter. After the division, I felt relieved. The kids laughed and thanked me, promising to visit often. I thought everything was settled. I'd grow old in peace. But everything began to change. That year, during Lunar New Year, only my daughter came home to help make sticky rice cakes. My second son said he was entertaining clients. The third's wife had just given birth, so he couldn't come. I didn't blame them. I understood. But then came the doctor's visit. I had back pain, went to the clinic, and was told I needed regular medication and a hospital scan. I called my second son, asked to borrow a bit of money. He hesitated, then said, "Mom, I'm short on capital right now. Maybe ask my younger brother." I didn't ask again. I used my own savings. It became clear, filial piety only existed before the land was divided. A month later, heavy rains came. The roof leaked like a waterfall. I asked a neighbor to call my third son. He had a workshop and knew repairmen. She called. He answered, muttered a few words, and hung up. Days passed. No one came. Not a single return call. I understood then, when I held the land deeds, I was Mom. Without them, I was just a placeholder, a place to visit for a few incense sticks during ancestor worship, a background name when relatives asked, "Do your kids take care of you?" Only my daughter stayed consistent. She didn't say much but sent a little money every month. Sometimes rice, sometimes milk. She lived far away, worked a labor-intensive job with low pay. Yet every holiday, she came home to clean, cook, and massage my sore joints. I used to wonder why my daughter cared more than my sons, the very sons I had placed all my hope in Indiana. I didn't have an answer. But I began to see clearly, blood ties aren't measured by what you give, but by how they treat you when you have nothing left to give. That rainy season, I got very ill. My joints ached terribly. Walking even a few steps made me dizzy. I couldn't sleep. I called my eldest. "Son, I'm not feeling well. Could you take me to the district hospital?" He paused. "Let me check my schedule. Things are hectic right now. I can't promise, Mom." He hung up. No follow-up. I called my second son. "I've been unwell these days. Can you stop by?" His reply came quick. "Mom, our machine just broke. We lost a contract. And my wife is pregnant, so we really can't go now." I said nothing more. The silence inside me felt heavier than any pain. The next morning, I packed my bag and caught a long-distance bus to the city. I thought, he's the eldest, surely he wouldn't let his own mother be sick and alone. His house was in a gated neighborhood, fancy, with security cameras and automatic gates. My daughter-in-law opened the door, surprised. "Mom, you came without calling first?" I forced a smile. I was afraid if I called, you'd say no. She called into the house. Babe, your mom's here. My son stepped out, surprised. Then smiled. Mom, you must really be sick, huh? Come in. The house was clean, modern, and fragrant. But I felt like a stranger. That evening, I asked him to take me to the hospital. He said he was in an online meeting and asked his wife. She hesitated. Can it wait until tomorrow? I'm taking the kid to tutoring and need to stop by the supermarket. I nodded. Said it was fine. That night, I tossed and turned. Not from illness, but from coldness. Not in my body, but in my heart. At sunrise, I left without telling anyone. I didn't want to be a burden. I rode my old bike to the hospital. The doctor said my joint degeneration was severe. I said nothing. Just returned to my empty house. That evening, I lay staring at the stained ceiling, and I thought, when I divided the assets, I didn't count the years I raised them. But now that I have nothing left, they no longer count me as a mother. Then I heard a motorbike outside. My daughter's voice called out, panicked. Mom, are you home? I limped out to greet her. She rushed in and held me tight. I heard from the neighbors that you were so sick, you had to go to the hospital alone. What happened, Mom? I couldn't answer. My eyes were wet. My lips trembled. I'm fine. Just a little lonely. She looked at me and said, From now on, I'll stay with you. I quit my job. Money's tight, but we'll get by. I said nothing, just held her hand. Her fingers were rough, calloused, but warm. I started writing in a diary, not to complain or to boast, but to record my thoughts I had no one else to share with. On the first page, I wrote, My daughter received nothing, but she gave me life. Since she returned, everything changed. Mornings had broom sounds. Lunch smelled of home-cooked rice. Evenings brought her reading the paper to me and massaging my knees. She never asked about money. She never asked for anything. One day, I asked, Aren't you worried, taking time off like this? She smiled. You raised me my whole life. Now let me take care of you for a few months. That's a good trade. I held back tears, not because of her words, but because after decades of motherhood, I finally had a child who saw me as a person. Later, I asked her to take me to the notary office. What for, Mom? She asked. I just want to organize some paperwork, I said. But I knew exactly what I was doing. I met with a lawyer. I told him clearly, this house goes to my daughter. No division. No argument. Just her. The lawyer paused. Are you sure? Won't your sons be upset? I looked out the window. My daughter was waiting in the sun. I already gave them everything. She never asked for land, only for her mother. I signed the will with a steady hand, because for the first time in my life, I knew I was doing the right thing. I was later hospitalized again. My liver was failing. The doctor said the prognosis was not good. My daughter held my hand, her eyes red. My eldest said, Mom's sick again? I'm swamped. Can't keep running to the hospital. My second asked, How bad is it? How much money do you need? She said, If you can't come, just send a message. They hesitated. I heard everything, but felt nothing. I asked the lawyer to come to the hospital. I signed the will again, in front of a nurse, doctor, and my daughter. Mom, what are you doing? She asked, tearfully. I smiled. Just making sure no one can take what rightfully belongs to you. Later, both sons returned home, not to visit, but to ask if there was anything left. I overheard my second son whispering, If Mom passes, we should split the rest immediately. No drama. My daughter said nothing. Just quietly washed dishes. That night, she massaged my legs. I asked. Does it bother you, what they said? She smiled softly. No, Mom. I'm used to it. They've always talked like that. I opened my diary and wrote. Today, I watched my children talk about splitting assets like I was already dead. Maybe in their hearts, I died the day I signed over the deeds. I asked the doctor to let me go home. I didn't want to die in the hospital. I wanted to lie in my own bed, under my familiar ceiling, listening to the wind rustle through the wooden cracks. Back home, my daughter cleaned the room, changed the mattress, rehung my wedding photo. Every morning, she took me outside to feel the sun and smell the burning rice straw. I couldn't eat much, just a few spoons of porridge, but my heart was light. I had done everything I needed. A few days ago, my eldest called. Mom, I heard you're home. Need anything? I said. No, son. I'm fine. I have enough. He paused. Rest well, okay? I'll visit when you're better. I hung up. I knew he wouldn't. My second son texted. Mom, do you still have a savings account? I didn't reply. Every day, my daughter cared for me. She read to me. Tucked me in. Checked my breathing. Held my hand until I fell asleep. Sometimes, tears rolled down my cheeks, not from sadness, but from love. She never asked if I had anything left to give. Only if I was hungry, in pain, or cold. And I realized that is my true inheritance. I wrote the final page in my diary. No one will read it but me. But if one day my daughter finds it, I want her to know. I didn't give you everything because I loved you more. I gave you everything because you never asked for anything. You gave me back my life, one spoon of porridge, one warm towel, one breath at a time. I didn't seek revenge. I wasn't bitter. I only returned love to the one who stayed. I signed my name, closed the book, and closed my eyes. That night, I couldn't sleep, but I was at peace. Because even if I don't wake up tomorrow, I know. I lived with love. And I gave it back to the one who truly deserved it. Thank you for watching this story until the very last word. If you believe that fairness isn't always about equal shares, but about giving to the one who stayed. And if you believe that love can speak quietly, yet touch deeply, then this story belongs to you. You're watching Life Begins at 70. A channel where we share true, heartfelt stories of aging, dignity, sacrifice, and late-blooming love. Please like, share, and subscribe to help us bring more voices from the quiet corners of life to those who need to hear them most. Because aging isn't the end, it's the beginning of seeing what truly matters.